What's up, everybody? This is Elliott Terrell with artofmagic.com. You're listening to Magical Thinking, and thanks so much for listening to the show. You're really going to enjoy this episode. I certainly enjoyed talking to Brett Loudermilk. He's a dear friend of mine. We talked about him getting his start as a sword swallower, growing up in a weird sort of childhood environment, learning to swallow a sword over the phone, busking in New York, and then on into doing what he's doing now, which is consulting and performing as a master performer. That's what Neil Patrick Harris calls him, and I would have to agree. He's absolutely incredible. One of my all-time favorites to see and watch perform. I do want to give you a little bit of a heads up. A little over an hour into the show, it gets a bit provocative. Brett is a variety act, and he has performed in some very strange and interesting places. And honestly, you may need to buckle up for that part of the show. Some of the stuff I even had to edit out. Brett wasn't comfortable sharing the story, so I think it turned out really well. I left my reactions in, and you will probably be able to piece it all together. But I just wanted to give you a bit of a heads up. That may not be for the younger listeners, but you know, it's in there. If you're interested, you can have it. Also, when we recorded, Tom Mullica was still living. He hadn't passed away yet. And we also mentioned Derek Delgadio's show, which is currently titled In and of Itself, which, I mean, that's now the title. It's not even currently titled that. It is titled In and of Itself, and it's playing now, so you should go see it. But anyway, we talk a little bit, very briefly at the end about that. But I just wanted to mention those two things because we have recorded this quite a while back. Anyway, go ahead and follow us on Instagram at Treasury of Wonder and at A Sense of Mystery. Find us on Facebook and Twitter at A Sense of Mystery. You can always get in touch with me by emailing me at podcast@artofmagic.com. I'd love to hear from you. I'd love to hear your thoughts on the show and what you think of the guests and maybe who you want to hear next time. Anyway, thanks so much for listening. Enjoy the episode. See you later.
She pulled the sword out of me, and I said food pussy, and I looked over at him, and he was just like...
That's amazing.
Yeah. So making him laugh was great. Mm-hmm. His wife was wearing this white dress with like all these colors on it, so I mentioned that I would, if she pulled it out wrong, I would vomit all over her Technicolor Dreamcoat.
Nice. Tablecloth was a good one in the show that I was in.
Tablecloth was mean.
It was so funny.
Yeah.
It was like, that was like a slow burn. People had to realize they were talking about her dress.
I was the next day, there was a woman with silver high heels on. Mm-hmm. And I do the thing, and then I go, or I'll puke all over those, your aluminum foil wrapped feet. And people were like, oh, and then I said something else, and then I looked over, and I was like, oh, like a couple little baked potatoes. Little baked potato tootsies.
That's pretty good.
And talked about her baked potatoes for a while.
Yeah. Riffing bits.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
That's awesome. Yes, your show with Justin was definitely my favorite thing I've ever seen in the Peller.
Really?
Yeah.
Thanks, man.
By far.
Thanks.
It was awesome. And that was the first time I'd seen you perform, which was amazing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's what I do. So it is.
Just pulling things out of my throat.
Just that.
So you mentioned in your show that Todd Robinson, right? Is that?
Todd Robbins taught me, yeah.
Todd Robbins. You called him on the phone. Oh, just what's your origin story? Tell me about
We're
that.
recording?
Yeah.
Yeah, of course. Okay. Yeah. So, origin story. I grew up with a grandfather who was a faith healer, essentially. We had a Pentecostal faith healing tent show deal, so I was exposed to really weird shit as a kid.
Yeah, you were like a sideshow performer.
Yeah.
As a child.
Yeah, but without. I was there.
Yeah,
I was there.
Yeah. Okay.
And my grandfather knew carnies, like he knew weird people, mm-hmm. and I saw a sideshow when I was really young. Mm-hmm. He came out as an atheist and sold everything and got out of it. Mm-hmm. And then we...
How did that affect your, worldview?
I was really young, but it affected it enough.
I
mean,
can imagine.
especially the rest of the family,
Yeah.
So things were weird, but to say the least.
I come from a place where there are people that still do that all the time.
Yeah. It's so much fun to go see. It's so weird and jarring. Small dog.
He wants to play with this.
Oh, is it? Oh,
Yeah.
We can't have the dog. This is great listening. For everyone.
It's fine.
Yeah, talking about the dog. Shaking with anticipation. Oh my god.
He was
really
shaking like a little shit. No, what was it? From Grand Budapest.
He is really adorable. No. That happens.
He lives with a magician.
Yeah, that happens all the time. That happens to that dog.
Yeah.
Okay.
For the benefit of the listeners, we're trying to fool Hilton, Dave's dog. I'm sure everybody already knows Hilton.
Via Instagram.
And also he's constantly interrupting this podcast.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's
so it's
funny.
fine.
How many of these have you recorded?
So far, about 7.
7. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
And we're launching in February.
Great. So nice big backlog.
Yeah, getting them in the can.
Yeah.
Anyway, so Faith Healer no longer.
Yes.
Okay.
So Faith Healer no longer.
Mm-hmm.
I had a magic set. Same story as everybody else. You're 5 years old. You get a magic set. You get hooked, and then it just goes from there. I learned how to hammer a nail at my nose when I was 8. Then, I learned how to eat fire, lay on a bed of nails, walk on broken glass. The list goes on and on. When I was 15, I absolutely had to learn how to swallow swords.
Mm-hmm.
It was the one thing that was like, this is the holy grail.
Okay.
So I saw Todd Robbins on TV. He was swallowing swords and hammering nails up his nose. No, he swallowed a sword and ate a light bulb, I think.
Okay.
And I found his number on the internet.
Yep.
I cold called him.
Yep.
And I said, "Will you teach me how to swallow a sword?" I first go, "Hi, I'm Brett Loudermilk. I'm this 15-year-old kid in North Carolina. We need to know each other. I know this guy and this guy and this guy." And I dropped all the names of all these other old school showmen, whom I had also cold called. And he was floored that I knew who these people were and I knew their stories.
Yeah, you were legit.
Yeah. And I said, "Okay, will you teach me how to swallow swords?" And he agreed. He said, "Yeah, sure, I'll do that." And I learned over the phone.
How do you learn over the phone? Was this 15 minutes? He was like, "Yeah, this is what you do," and then
Pretty much, it was a series of calls.
Okay.
So do this, this, and this, and then let's talk tomorrow. And do this, this, and this. Okay, what problems are you running into? All right, here's how you correct that. Maybe try this. What are you doing at this point?
Mm-hmm.
Those types of things.
This is good teaching.
Yeah,
Sounds like really good,
it was
in depth,
very thorough for over the phone.
Yeah.
And then I did it finally. Took a very long time, and it finally happened. And I told him that I got this coat hanger all the way down because that's what I was learning with.
Yeah.
And he said, "Well, now you're a man." And he sent me my first sword.
Oh wow, that's awesome.
Yeah. And all the while, my parents did not know that I was learning how to do this.
Are your parents still Pentecostal Carolinians?
No.
Okay.
No, it's all... We've all figured it out.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, so you're hiding this from your parents. They know you do blockhead and eat fire and other
Yes,
things.
they know that, and they're not happy about it.
Okay. Who is at this stage, though? No one's parents likes that they're doing anything weird.
No, they don't.
Okay.
Nobody wants their kid to be different.
Yep.
So, I learned all these things, I am performing already. I have a stage show at the Renaissance Festival in North Carolina when I was 14.
Okay.
So before I was even swallowing swords.
Yeah.
And I was on the same time slot as the joust. So I would have to fight really hard.
You were competing, very difficult.
Yeah, I would have to fight really hard for an audience. And that helped me as a performer.
Yeah.
And then, fast forward to after learning how to swallow swords and all that, I dropped out of high school at 17 and moved to New York City with $500 in my pocket. I was street performing every day. The day I got there, I started street performing.
What were you doing on the street?
Sword swallowing and fire breathing.
Okay.
That was mainly it.
Okay.
And that was the start of the act that you saw a couple days ago.
Yeah. Okay. And when was it? How many years ago was this?
That was... Let's do the math. 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26. 11 years ago.
Wow, okay. 11 years.
Yeah.
All right.
It's a long time.
It is a long time. You've got your 10,000 hours in, definitely. It shows. It shows. Your show is amazing.
Thank you.
So busking, street performing with sword swallowing and fire eating.
Yep. And I moved there with the intention of being closer to Todd Robbins.
Okay.
And learning everything I could from him. So we went to lunch almost every day. Todd bought me my first suit. It was a bright blue zoot suit. But it was a suit. I've moved on since then.
We'll talk about that later on.
Yeah. So that's that, and I was there for 2 years before I ended up in Los Angeles.
Okay. How big are your crowds that you're pulling?
I would pull numbers. I don't know, a few hundred.
Okay.
Not at the beginning.
Sure, of course.
It took. I learned really quick. I've always been pretty good at picking things up and figuring out a formula that worked for me, a persona that worked for me at that age on the street. I got that dialed in.
How did you? What kind of persona did you come up with? What is that? A kid on the streets of New York.
An aggressive, loud-mouthed kid. Which
arrogant.
Still comes
showy.
out. Yeah.
I am the future kind of kid.
I am the future. You better fucking watch me.
Yes.
Because you're gonna see me later.
Yeah. Great.
I would run over to people that were walking by, grab them, and pull them towards the show and make them stay. And if they tried to leave, I would scream at them and yell at them, and they would give in. The audience would get on my side, and they would stay.
Yeah.
And that's what works for me, is being aggressive and mean to people.
It's because you look like a forest nymph. You should be donned in like a tiny little loincloth that has flower petals on it. So I feel like you'd get away with like that kind of thing. It's like, this guy's not gonna hurt anybody.
Yeah, well, I say it with a smile,
of course,
and there's a level of charm there that combats the abrasiveness.
Yeah, and that is much harder to learn and cultivate. And I would say
that's just
built into your.
That's just built into me. Yeah, I mean, my mom does a similar thing.
She grabs people and screams at them. Or?
Yeah, well, yes, mainly me, but no, like we have a very similar sense of humor.
Okay.
But yeah, you're for most intents and purposes, you're born with that ability.
Yeah.
I was listening to some comedian talk about, I think it may have been Mark Maron. He was asked to speak at a comedy class, and he says, "None of you are going to be comedians, simply because you are here
at this class." Yeah.
Yeah. If you have to take a comedy class, you're not funny.
Yeah.
It's not going to happen for you. You can't learn it. It's you can improve upon it.
Sure. Yeah.
Greatly.
Yeah.
I mean, if you watch Louis C.K. in the 80s and Louis C.K. now...
Two different animals.
Completely different people.
Yes. Yeah.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
So you can always improve upon it, but it's ingrained. It's a born thing.
Sure.
Yeah.
That sense of like timing and I don't know, just a quick wit and these other inherent funny things.
Yeah, and I don't necessarily consider myself quick. It may appear so on stage.
But that's the part that, like, I think is cultivated. You've done so much performing.
I've done so much, and I've seen so many different things. If I didn't come up with something on the spot, which I do a lot, but if I haven't or whatever, I've got time to then think about it after the show, and then I go, okay, I've got that.
Yeah.
And then when that situation happens again, because it will happen again, because everyone is the same.
Yes.
No one is unique. Every audience, they're either good or bad, and they all think of the same shit.
Yep.
And
that's one of the beautiful things about the act I just saw, is that a lot of the jokes that get the biggest laughs that you do, there's no setup.
No.
It's a punchline because everyone has already got the setup.
They're already thinking it.
Yes.
So that's how the act is constructed. You see a visual, you're already thinking of something in your head.
Yep.
And then I tell you what you're thinking.
And then you say food pussy.
And then I say food pussy. And people go, what? What did he... What? No, he didn't. Did he just say that? What does it mean? It means mouth. A food pussy is a mouth. And I'm very hungry right now and would love to stuff my food pussy. But I digress. Yeah, so I'm not as
quick-witted as it appears.
Quick-witted as it appears. I can do it, and I do it more on stage.
Yeah, where you kind of click into gear and...
I click into gear, the adrenaline's pumping, my brain is working in a different way.
Yes.
When I am out with people and I'm not performing, it's a little different. I don't think I'm ever the funniest person in a group.
Sure. Funniest people in a group usually think that.
Sure, I'll take that.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
But yeah, like it's I don't know. It's a thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
So when you how much has magic actually played a part in your development, or is it
hugely?
Okay.
Hugely. I have been I hate sideshow performers.
Okay. I know there's a lot of drama.
Yeah, well, if you follow me on Facebook,
yes,
which you should if you're listening to this.
Yep.
I'm very bitchy, and I'm not afraid to call people out.
Yep.
And it's actually given me a massive amount of respect, which is insane. Like one day I just stopped caring.
Yeah.
And I was like, look, I don't like what's happening in this world that I absolutely adore and have invested my entire life in.
Yeah.
I dropped out of high school. Mm-hmm. I gave up like an education for this.
Yeah.
And everyone's fucking it up. So one day I was just like, well, I'm going to stop, pretending that everything is waffles and rainbows.
Yep.
And go, okay, you are terrible. This is why you are terrible. What are you doing? Yeah. Do you think about what you're doing? What is the purpose of all of this?
Yeah.
I get emails all the time from people now after being so opinionated about like, oh, hey, can you watch this video and tell me what you think? And I have to respond, do you really want to know?
Yeah.
Because because I have a lot of free time. I will spend, 3 hours on a 2-minute video.
Yeah.
And write 5 pages of notes and this is This is what you're doing wrong. This is what you're doing right. What are you trying to say? Here's what I think you're trying to say.
Yeah.
This is what your audience is probably thinking you're trying to say.
And are all of these things cohesive?
Yeah. Are they cohesive? Is this the message you want to deliver? Do you even have a message?
Yeah.
And more often than not, people, when I say, do you really want to know? They're like, oh. Maybe not.
Yeah. But that again is like, your self-assuredness and deciding not to care anymore, that gives you the liberty to be honest.
Yeah.
Those people haven't accepted that for themselves yet, so they don't want to know the real
people
opinion.
It's you one of the biggest problems in sideshow and magic, and I'll answer the magic question that you asked before.
Take your time.
Is that people believe their own hype.
Yep.
And you can't. Sideshows inherently are not good. They aren't. Even in the heydays of sideshow, during the Depression, when there were, over 300 traveling sideshows, none of them were good.
Mm-hmm.
A sideshow is about the banners. So you've got a banner line on the outside, and you have an outside talker, never to be referred to as a barker.
Okay.
You have a talker.
Okay.
The talker, their job is to sell the banners. You've got these beautiful pictorials on the outside. They're painting these beautiful word pictures in your head. And then you go into the tent. And the show only needs to square the beef. It only needs to square the banners. You deliver the bare minimum.
Mm-hmm.
So that people don't ask for their money back. That's it. That's all it is.
The show happens before you see the show.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, the show happens in your mind. You go in, you're like, eh.
I guess they were right.
I guess that's what, sure,
yeah.
whatever.
Mm-hmm.
All right, yeah, I saw a frog boy. He rolled a cigarette with his lips. That was really great. He didn't look like a frog. He was a small black man in a wheelchair. Like, that's the reality. It's like Otis Jordan was billed as Frog Boy for most of his life. Later on, when he was working in Coney Island.
Frog Man.
He was yes. Later on, he was Frog Man. Funnily enough, they were never men or women. They were always boy or girl. Don't know why.
Okay.
I'm sure somebody out there. I'm sure Todd Robbins knows why.
Mm-hmm.
I do not know why. But Otis Jordan was had withered arms and legs and did everything with his mouth and lips.
Mm-hmm.
And it was incredible. He could light matches and roll cigarettes with his mouth. And I've seen video of it. I didn't get to see him in person because he died when I was too young. But it was remarkable. He was called the Frog Boy because his legs kind of were like bent into like a frog leg shape. But that was it.
Sure. And then in Coney Island.
In Coney Island, he was then billed as the Human Cigarette Factory, which made more sense.
Yeah.
And the banner was a much more honest banner because it showed effectively an immobile man in a wheelchair rolling cigarettes.
Yeah.
And that was a huge step for them to like have a very honest banner on their banner line. But it was cool. And he was more comfortable with that. Sideshows have never been good. And they aren't now.
Yep.
And there's a reason I don't call myself a sideshow performer.
Yeah, I just was like so ready to accept that. Yes, sideshows are bad. Let's go.
Yeah, it's true. It's not they're not worth not seeing.
Yeah.
You should absolutely go see them because it's an American art form.
Sure.
It is a truly American thing that was invented here and is all over the world, but it's an Americana folk outsider art thing that's cool. It just doesn't stand up to what entertainment should be.
Yeah.
Now.
So you don't bill yourself as a sideshow performer?
Yeah, I don't call myself a sideshow performer. I'm a variety act.
Okay.
I do a very weird niche thing, and I try to make it as entertaining as I can.
Yeah.
And you were asking how magic has influenced that. I've been a magician since I was 5 years old. I think about magic every day. I think about magic more than I think about sideshow, and that's what I do for a living.
Yeah.
Even though I hate calling it sideshow. And I've been accused by other sideshow performers that I think too much like a magician. To which I go, you're an idiot. Because a good magician is supposed to think about every aspect of what they're doing. Every fine little nitty-gritty detail.
Yeah. You think too much like an artist. Let's
Yeah.
take magician out of it because there's a lot of bad magicians.
There's a ton of bad. Yeah.
You're
I'm thinking like
every
an artist.
aspect. Yeah.
Yeah. Because I need to know what the audience thinks.
Yeah.
What are they thinking in every moment of what I'm doing?
Yeah.
What am I conveying? All the things that I just talked about.
Self-awareness.
Yeah.
Thing. Yeah.
It's about self-awareness, and it's from years of hating what I was doing. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Like,
yeah.
I did 2 shows last night at the castle that I hated. I hated them. But I got great. I watched the tapes, and the audiences loved them. I killed.
Yeah. Why did you hate the shows?
I felt like my timing was off.
Okay.
I said things out of order. It was, the problem that you have when you're doing, 3 shows a night for 4 days or whatever the Peller is.
Yeah.
You're just being really repetitive. You don't know what you've done and what you haven't done.
Yeah.
I repeated a couple jokes.
Sure.
The first show was great. That was the one that Mulaney was in, John Mulaney, and it was fantastic.
I love that little comment thread too that happened on your post. Just burning his bits in the comments.
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead. Anyway.
Yeah. So the first show was killer.
Yeah.
Second show, there were a couple people in the audience that there is a lot of emotional stuff with.
Okay.
Which I'm sure you realize what I'm talking about. And so that kind of affected me.
You could feel it in the room.
I could feel that in the room.
Yeah.
And the person that introduced us, the manager in that room, called me Brett Loudermilk. And I'm standing literally 3 inches away from her separated, and we're separated by a curtain. So she says, Brett Loudermilk, and walks away, and then I come out going, yeah! That's not me! My name is actually Brett Loudermilk.
Yes.
But thank you for the attempt. And then I felt like I was just too heady about that.
Yeah.
Like, it destroyed me.
Yeah.
And I ended up repeating several jokes and going, oh, I already said it. Okay. I just kept
just threw off your groove.
Yeah, I was tripped up the entire show.
Sure.
Was I still effective as a performer and an entertainer?
Of course.
Yes.
Because that's who you are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I was not happy.
Mm-hmm.
And I go backstage and I wanted to just break shit.
Yeah.
And then that carried over into the next show. And I just didn't feel good about it.
Yeah.
And that happens. But that's what should happen to somebody that cares about what they do.
Of course. Yeah.
You're supposed to hate what you're doing.
Yeah, and you had the correct response to it.
Because you need to know what to work on.
Yeah.
You need to realize where the errors are.
Yeah.
And I did realize where the errors were.
Yeah. And you also now, not that this hasn't happened before or whatever, but now, that's like that's a thing that you can be kind of aware of and proactive about next time if somebody fucks up your name. It's like, it's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, if I were to go back in time and do that again, I wouldn't have even mentioned it.
Sure.
Because ultimately, my name's not important.
Yes.
8 people in that room will remember who I am.
Yeah.
They'll remember what I did.
Yes.
They're not going to remember my name.
Sure.
It's like a joke that I make in my act. Oh, you're the guy. You're the sword guy. And it's like, yeah, I am, but I'm more than that. My name is Brett. Thank you. Hello. Nice to meet you. And I do that all the time. All the time. I perform a lot in LA, and I get recognized, and I'm always the sword swallower or the sword guy.
Yeah.
You know. And it's that thing where you loathe what you're best at.
Because it becomes
your defining thing.
Yeah.
And it's there's so much more. Like
Sure.
I'm more. It's like when I had a mustache.
Yeah.
It's like I am more than a mustache.
You did rock that though.
I pulled it off, but 6 years is too long.
Sure.
And now I feel much better about myself when I wake up and don't put glue stick on my face. So I'm in a healthier, happier place without the mustache.
Because of the mustache. Oh, the weight has been lifted as you shave it off.
Yeah. The turning point was for everybody growing one, first of all.
Yeah, that's okay. That's
and
fair.
going, oh,
I can't be associated
I
with
can't
these
talk to
people.
that asshole. Look at him, you know. And then I realized, oh, people look at me and they go, oh, look at that asshole with the mustache.
Yeah.
And then I discovered one day out of necessity that glue stick is superior to mustache wax.
Really?
Yeah, because, well, let me tell you.
Okay.
So mustache wax, you've got to melt it a little bit. You've got to get it soft.
Yeah.
You have to work it into the hairs. You have to use a blow dryer to spread it out and make it even.
Yeah.
And then you have to set the curl or whatever of the handlebar.
Yeah.
And let it solidify. And then you have your finished product. It takes five minutes.
Yeah.
You know, 3 to 5 minutes.
Yeah.
But it takes time.
Sure.
Mustache with the glue stick. You rub the glue stick in. Boom, boom, boom. You coat all the hairs. Get the curl you want, hit it with a hairdryer for 2 seconds, and it's dry. And it stays there. And it's great. And it washes out instantly. So there you go.
I bet Elmer had a badass mustache.
I bet he did. If any of you assholes still have a handlebar mustache, Elmer's glue stick is where it's at.
That's awesome.
Yeah. And I use the purple one that goes clear.
Yeah.
By the way, just so
the
you know.
purple one's the best one.
Yeah.
Tastes pretty good too. You would know.
Yes, well, I do put
It was on
mostly
your face.
anything in my mouth. Yes.
Oh, God. Yes, that's true. That's
Yeah.
true. I've seen it in person.
Yeah.
I had something I was going to ask. Oh, it was, it doesn't matter. I was going to do a reference. It doesn't matter.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. No, it's fine.
Now what?
Magic.
Yeah, magic.
Yeah.
So
Do you practice magic? Or you
a little bit.
A little bit.
I mean, I do. I've created magic for people.
Sure.
I've can't currently discuss
Of course.
certain
No,
projects,
sure.
but have consulted for very big names in the magic world. And done some really cool stuff.
Yeah.
And
The glue diptych was choice.
yeah, and you know, I love magic more than anything. I really do. It's endless.
Yeah.
It really affects people.
I think it's really cool that you're sort of. Yeah, I wouldn't say you're not in the community because you're definitely in it.
Yeah.
But doing the show that you do and the work that you do, you're sort of adjacent to magic, and then magic doesn't become the thing that you hate and loathe.
Yeah. It's
which
true.
I think happens to people that get really good.
A lot of really great magicians, a lot of our contemporaries, that are the best in the world, hate it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And they start to not like the people.
Mm-hmm.
And everything.
And they get frustrated with the people who don't care about
as
being
much as
self-aware.
they
and
do.
communication.
Yeah.
And
So it's this really vicious cycle, and it's, as an artist, as somebody that already has a delicate mental state anyway,
Yeah.
it's hard, I'm so lucky. Like, it's so crazy that I don't drink and don't do any drugs.
Yeah.
Because I would love them. I know that I would love
Yeah.
them, and I would be out of control and
Yeah.
a horrible human being.
Good self-control, though.
Yeah, I have a lot of self-control, and I'm very stubborn and very much into self-preservation as far as, like, even though I swallow swords and do things that could kill me, I still haven't quite figured that out. I don't think there are enough hours in the day to figure out why I do this, and I'm terrified of everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's that this is a way that you could kill yourself that you can control.
Yeah. I mean, like, I won't get on a roller coaster because I have no control.
I hate roller coasters. Yeah. They're the worst.
I can't do it. Nope. Can't do it. I can't put my life in somebody else's hand.
I hate haunted houses.
I hate them and love them. It's so fun to just scream like a girl and run. And just, it's great. And I love designing shit like that. I love coming up with things that will terrify people. And a project that I'm working on now, not necessarily is about terrifying people, but it's about really emotionally affecting people and making them feel very uneasy.
Yeah. I see dread gets me off way more than, like, jump scares and stuff.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
Yeah, I think
that's why, like, The Shining is a hallmark of horror cinema, is because, like, you just feel uneasy the
entire time. Yeah. Yeah, that's what's exciting about this is creating a narrative and all this that's about.
And that's got to be so meticulous. Every word in the story has got to be exactly.
Yeah, it's terrifying to do.
Yeah.
But man, it's fun.
Yeah.
So we'll see.
Yeah, I'm super interested in magic that makes people feel and that makes people have an emotional reaction, because there's no point to a 4-H trick.
No, there's not. And I specialize in giving people a feeling that they hardly ever, if ever, feel. And I don't even know how to describe what people are feeling when they're watching me.
Yeah.
I can't put words to it. But I can definitely show you.
Yeah.
When I'm swallowing a sword and causing the sense of, like, awe and disgust and wonder and making people laugh.
And jealousy.
Like, all these things.
All of them.
Like, people are feeling this massive mix of emotions.
Yeah.
And I also, for those of you that have never seen me, I don't explain that the swords are real. That is
I was curious about that, yeah.
Yeah. And that was a big choice that I made.
Yeah.
Because one of the things that I hate about Sideshow is how macho it is. And how everybody's like, oh, this is real, it's steel, blah, 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 look how crazy I am.
Yeah.
I don't care. That doesn't impress me.
Yeah.
And, it's the exact same school of thought as the last Blaine special, Real or Magic.
Yeah.
What is it? Is it real? Is it magic? The wonder is in not knowing.
Sure.
That's what's important. You think about it. You go, like, during my act, you go, oh, is he doing this? I don't think so. Oh my God, I think this is real.
That's why the balloon is the finale.
Yeah, that's why I swallow a balloon.
Because that shit is, like,
yeah,
there's no explanation.
No, and by that time,
yeah,
everyone thinks it's real.
Yeah.
And it's and that used to frustrate me a lot. But now I'm quite happy about that.
Yeah,
I love it.
Yeah, I think people ought to.
Yeah. I mean, it was frustrating because I worked so hard on this ability that nobody has.
Sure, yeah.
And then it gets effectively trumped by
a magic trick.
Something simple.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's still amazing. Looks real. The way you present it. Like, I think it's stronger that it could be and should be real for the audience.
Well, I also think for any of you listening, if you do not swallow swords, even if you do swallow swords, don't don't do my act. First, and second of all, if you do not swallow swords and you're a magician, do not swallow a balloon. Because I have seen too many overweight, middle-aged white men in a bad suit sucking on a balloon that looks like a penis for no reason.
Yeah.
For no reason.
Yep.
And it doesn't, it's uncomfortable.
Yeah,
it's like, it's funny in a jarring way. Like, that's a thing that people don't get, is just because an audience is laughing doesn't mean it's good.
Yes, that's very true.
You know?
Yeah.
There is a difference. There are a lot of different types of laughing.
Yeah.
And you've got to be able to figure out
and
what
that just
is
comes
happening.
from doing the shows. And
It comes from doing the
audience.
shows, reading the audience, and being
and cultivating
introspective.
taste.
Yeah. Taste. And, I've had many conversations with Jim Steinmeier about taste. And his whole thing is that a good magic act, a good act, is a collection of tastes. Because one person is not capable of controlling every little thing and creating something beautiful and great. There are exceptions to this rule, but it's very, very rare. You need people behind you. You need people helping you.
Yeah.
You know? So I have a team of people. I have people that I go to with ideas and things, and I workshop stuff privately with people before it ever hits a stage.
Of course.
You know?
And that's the way it should and ought to be done.
Yeah. You know? And I get brutally honest feedback from these people because that's what I need.
Yeah.
You
and
know?
that's what you're asking them for.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And when anybody asks me for my feedback, that's what I give them because that's what they need.
Yeah.
They don't need somebody to tell them that what they do is great. Because when that's the other thing that I get all the time is like, oh well, my audiences tell me it's great.
No.
They don't know shit.
I just got this terrible flashback.
Yeah.
I was at a magic convention in Dallas, and it's a small intimate thing at like a Holiday Inn or something, and this local magician who just heard there were magicians hanging out came and basically crashed the convention.
Yeah.
And so everybody's in a lecture, and myself and two other people who I won't name are in the lobby, and I walk up to the table and this guy that I don't know is standing there with my two friends. And one of my friends says, "Oh man, Elliott, you've got to meet this guy. He's really something." And I'm like, "Wow, if my friend wants me to meet him, he must be amazing."
I know where this is going.
That's great.
Yeah.
And so he's like, my friend's like, "Yeah, will you show him that trick that you showed me?" And he's like, "Oh yeah, sure." And he comes around and he's like, "Yeah, your friend really likes this." And he proceeds to do literally the worst ambitious card I have ever seen in my entire life. For so many reasons.
You're terrible people. You're evil. But it's amazing. I get it. And that's...
This is what he said to me.
What did he say to you?
I was like... First off, I was like, that's not good. It's bad. And I gave my friend the meanest bitch face. I was
I'm
like,
sure. Yeah.
"Why have you done this to me?"
Yeah.
And I was like, this wasn't good. Here's some things you can improve on just technically. And then he's like, I just think, I kill with this routine. People love this. Like, I'm an awesome magician. My audiences love me. Like, this routine kills. And I'm like, first of all, I don't believe you at all. Secondly, the way that you did that, in the manner that you did that, I can't believe people would enjoy watching.
Yeah.
And he was like, "Well, I think magicians just like think too deeply about their stuff." He's like, "It's so easy to fool people. Why do we need to do all this extra stuff?" And I was like, I looked him in the eye and I said, "You're shitting on everything I believe in. Leave."
Yeah. Yeah. And that's very, very, very common. I get told, oh. No, it's fine. We're not in the middle of anything.
No.
This is my alarm for parking.
Oh, wow.
So, what I should do
Yeah.
is I want to continue this conversation.
Yeah.
I will go put money in the meter.
Yeah.
And then we'll pick this back up.
Yes. What were we talking about?
I don't remember.
Okay.
It doesn't matter.
Well, let's talk
magic!
Magic! It's magnets.
It's magnets. That's how it all works.
Let's talk about taste.
Oh, yeah, okay.
And style.
Taste and style.
Taste and style.
All right, what do you want to know?
Where do you get those fabulous suits?
Oh, I don't want to tell you.
Oh, it's too good a secret.
It really is.
I know, it's like the best kept secret.
I know. I don't
magicians.
think. Well, they're not all from there.
No.
Yeah, I mean, I've got a tuxedo and one suit.
Yeah.
But no, I within the last 3 years decided, okay, I want to look as good as I can, which is a good goal for anyone.
Yes.
So
the mustache came off.
Yeah. Well,
first thing to go.
No, I had the mustache, but I took a trip to Dubai to do a very large gig for a month.
Yeah.
And while I was there, I had custom clothing made.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay. And I designed a suit, and like I did everything that I wanted to do to it. And it was a dream suit. And I put it on, and people react differently.
Yeah.
People go, "Whoa, that's an amazing suit. Like, where did you get that? What's going on?" And it's like, "Oh, I had it made."
Oh, this whole thing.
Yeah, custom, and I like that.
Yeah.
Like, and the thing is,
feels good.
It feels good. It makes you feel good. You're more confident, and it opens doors.
Yes.
If you look like you have a lot of money, and that gives off the appearance of what you do is important.
Yes.
And that you belong to a club.
Yes.
Basically the 1%er types.
All of that and more, you have to want to dress that way, which speaks even more.
Yes. Yeah.
To people that see you.
Yeah. So when you meet these people that are the 1%, that have all the money,
they immediately recognize.
They go, "You're one of us."
Yeah.
How much is how much do you want for this event? 20 grand? Okay. Sure. Because
you look like you're worth it.
That's how much money you make, clearly. Like, that's why you're wearing what you're wearing.
Yeah.
And that's just how it works. If I did not appear the way I appeared, met the same person, was exactly the same person that I am, was just as charismatic and everything, but I did not appear to be of their, I'm putting up finger quotes, their caliber of person, because I think that's bullshit, but their caliber of person, they would not consider giving me multiple thousands of dollars.
Yeah.
They would go, give you $2,500.
Yeah.
At the very most.
Yeah.
You will not get more than that. And I do a 15-minute act. I don't do a lot.
Yeah.
So it's crazy when I can get a ton of money.
Yeah.
For effectively 15 minutes of work, which
yeah.
we all know it's way more than that.
Sure.
I put in the hours and flying and packing and
course,
doing the whole thing.
Yeah.
That's what they're paying for. They're not paying for my stage time.
Yeah.
They're not paying for the 15 minutes they see me. But yeah. So that style and appearance has been huge for me. It's been a very, very, very important thing in my life lately.
How did you okay, so you make the decision, then what do you do?
Then you figure out how to do it on a budget.
Yeah.
Because, I work maybe once a month. Like, very rarely am I in a position to, save a lot of money.
Yeah.
So I'm very fortunate enough to work the types of gigs that allow me to live fairly comfortably. Like I eat out most every, like I eat all my meals out. Like I never cook at home. Like I'm not freaking out about little things. Like I don't mind filling my gas tank all the way up like I used to.
Yeah.
Things like that. I'm very fortunate to be able to do that with the little work that I do.
Yeah.
Because I say no a lot to like little things, which is also another step of getting those bigger things.
Yeah.
Is saying no to smaller things.
Yeah.
Which is a very scary step.
Yeah.
So I don't have a lot of spare income to throw at, you know, a $2,000 suit or whatever.
Yeah.
So you look around. You just have to have your eyes open all the time.
Mm-hmm.
If it's, you know, something from like Top Man or H&M, or if it's vintage or whatever, you find what you like.
Yeah.
And then you put it on and you go, okay, it's not quite right. How do I make this right?
Yep.
You gotta go to a tailor. You gotta take an extra step, and then you can have something that looks like it was made for you.
Yes.
And you can embellish it a little bit if you want, like change the colors of a button or whatever.
Sure.
You know, I'm not saying bedazzle anything unless.
We're strictly saying not to bedazzle.
Yeah, don't. There's. I can think of a few bedazzling situations, but not for this. Yeah, so you just have to be smart about it.
Yeah.
And you have to get your brain in the right place.
Yeah.
You have to really want to do it.
Yes, that's very true.
You know, you can't just passively do it. You have to make a decision of like, am I going to buy $700 boots?
Yep.
For an outfit?
Yep.
Because that sounds insane. Like I'm saying it, and I'm kind of grossed out that I'm saying it, but I've done it.
Yep.
Because I know that that's gonna say value.
Yeah.
To
people that know.
To people that
can
know.
see and appreciate.
Yeah. And it's absurd that that's the way the world works, but that's how it works.
Yeah.
And that's the game that you have to play. That's what I do.
You do it pretty well.
Thank you.
You're very well dressed.
Thank you.
And it helps that you're just like a handsome man.
Oh, thank you.
Well,
you. For those of you that can't see me right now, I'm very sorry.
You should be very, very sorry. Pause. Google Brett Loudermilk.
Go to my Facebook. I've got a great photo up. It's an attitude. It's carrying yourself a certain way.
Yeah.
You know, and people like buying quality.
Yep.
So if you look like quality, they're gonna go for it.
Absolutely.
Also, it's like you pay more for something and you value it more.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I have a $300 pair of sunglasses and I have an $8 pair of sunglasses. I'm gonna lose the $8 pair of sunglasses. I'm gonna break the $8 pair of sunglasses.
Yep.
They were probably made in the same factory, and I'm okay with that.
Yep.
Because I paid more for the other ones. I know that I got ripped off. Sorry, my phone should be on silent. I know that I got ripped off on them, but I value them more. And in a weird way, I'm okay with it.
Yep. Because, yeah, it speaks to, again, it's a commitment to a specific message.
Yeah.
You're communicating a very specific thing with $300 sunglasses, a really nice fitting suit, great shoes, a haircut that looks thought out.
Yeah.
These are important things that a lot of people, especially in magic, don't pay attention to, don't think matter.
Yeah.
And you just are not doing yourself or your audience the service that you ought to be.
Yeah.
If you're not thinking about your cohesive message that you're sending.
Yeah. Yeah, it's all, every aspect of what you do is so important because every aspect affects all of the other it's
Yes, absolutely.
Everything is connected.
Mm-hmm.
And a piece can't be missing.
Yeah.
Because then it screws everything else up. It might not break it, but it will mar it, you know. And you ultimately don't want that. You want to avoid that.
Yes.
I mean, I'm not perfect. I've got there's tons of things I need to do and need to improve upon. And you know, nobody is perfect. And I'm constantly searching for what I need to improve.
Yeah.
You know?
And that's the point, is that you're active about it. You're proactive.
Yeah.
In that. You are trying to improve continuously.
I try to write after every show. Like at the castle, places like that, it's kind of impossible where you're doing so many.
Yeah. But
at the end of the night, just jot down thoughts, little ideas, little things, just so you don't forget them or so that you can solidify it in your head. But just jotting down a couple sentences about what happened. You know, even if it's stream of conscious, it doesn't need to be able to really be read over later at a later date. It's just about getting it out of your head and onto paper.
Yeah.
You know, don't worry about spelling. Don't worry about any of that. Just write. You know, that tends to help discover things.
Yeah. Yeah, the act of putting it out on paper like engages a part of your brain that isn't at play in that moment.
Also, it's a completely different thing, but I'm a big believer of rehearsing, practicing, and then taking a nap.
Really?
Yeah.
Rehearsing, practicing. Oh, yeah, of course. That makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
Sure.
Because your brain...
That's what Edison would do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It sets it into your head.
And your brain continues to work on it. And
I don't know how it works, but it works.
Yep.
You know, nap frequently, people.
Does your throat hurt?
Does my throat hurt?
Yeah. Not right now, but like...
My throat hurts sometimes, yeah. I'm sure yours does too.
No, I just meant like... it just like occurred to me... Or it didn't just occur to me. I've had the thought before. But I wonder... you know... How tough...
act?
Yeah, how tough is it on your throat?
No. The saw is the only thing that really is abrasive. The swords are very smooth. My voice is affected after a show, but I'm yelling in my act a lot. I'm using a lot of energy, and I'm swallowing swords.
Yeah.
So...
The whole cocktail of it really is...
Yeah, the whole thing is what affects it. My throat never really hurts. You know?
Yeah. Okay.
But there will be uncomfortable feelings. That's for sure.
Okay, sorry.
It's okay.
Okay, so I don't remember if you just told me this or if you'd mentioned it in your act, but you said you went, I think it was to Dubai to do a show, and you can use a line. How do different cultures and countries and audiences view you as a sword swallower? Are you like a shaman to some people? Just as magicians can be like... I've run into a couple crazy people that think things like that about me. But pretty universally, everywhere I've been in the world, the act works. Yeah. Because it's so rare. Yeah. And all those emotions that people feel are universal. They're all universal, and the comedy of my act is fairly universal. Places like Dubai, I have to tone down certain adult themes that come along with sword swallowing. Of course. Talking about blowjob dick humor, for those of you that aren't didn't get
astute. Yeah. So, you know, it works everywhere. I did a kids show. My first kids show I did was on Monday of last week. Okay. And it was a $5 million party for nearly toddlers. They were very young, and I didn't know that booking it. I just go, okay, yeah, I'll do the gig. Yeah. Then I get there, and I can't describe to you how unbelievable this party looked. Like,
the most extravagant thing.
It was so extravagant, so whimsical. It was awesome.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, this is going to be great. Turns out it's for children. And not very many kids, either. So I then did my act for kids, and they loved it.
Yeah. Kids
love sword swallowing. They love some goofy dude doing something that they know they're not supposed to do.
Yeah, yeah.
You know?
Well, I was going to mention this earlier, but I like that it came up organically like this. But you are a very light, bubbly person that then dabbles in that dark humor throughout your show.
Yeah.
And I think you can easily leave that out and be palatable in places that aren't okay with it. Like a kids' party or Dubai.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Because, performing in Dubai is a lot like performing at a kids' party. Yeah. I love darkness.
Yes.
Like, my mental patient act is
yeah.
It's a clown act, but it's dark. And some places it's darker than others because I'm allowed to make it as dark as I want it to.
Sure.
And more aggressive and more punk rock and like crazier. But yeah, so just to explain it, the mental patient act is I come out and my hair is like straight up. It's like super messy and crazy, really big. I look very sickly. Got like black bloodiness around my mouth, and I'm in a hospital gown and a straitjacket. And I come out in the straitjacket. I escape, and then I grab these swords that I find, and then I just start screaming and laughing and shoving them down my throat. And it's to this really kooky 1950s like rockabilly song, and that's like this. It's totally different from my talking on stage persona.
Yeah,
but I can do it as a family comedy act where it's just like this weird, crazy man that escaped and now he's doing this thing and like people are laughing at it.
Yeah.
Or I can make it like really dark where like there's a lot of blood involved.
Yeah.
I end up naked. I will jump on people in the audience totally naked.
Yeah.
And you may be asking where I perform this because you want to see it. And
I was just thinking.
The answer is you probably will not be able to afford entry. So
he's a very high dollar.
Yeah,
entertainer.
There's this legendary nightclub called The Act. I'm sorry, that's in Dubai. That's the sister club. The Box. There's this legendary nightclub called The Box in New York City. There's also one in Soho in London. And it's unbelievable the things that happen there. It's unbelievable the things that I've done and gotten away with there.
Yeah, I've heard stories about you being absolutely absurd.
Yes.
In a way that is illegal in the open air.
Terrible just things.
Really, yeah. That's so much freedom in that. Like, what does that feel like to just do whatever
the best feeling in the world.
You're given permission to do anything, basically, or you're not stopped from doing your artistic vision. Yeah,
you're treated as an artist.
Yep.
And you do your art. And the things that I've done that are outrageous, there are people that do things that are 100 times more outrageous than what I'm doing.
Yeah.
I don't feel comfortable even saying it on a non-censored podcast.
Yeah. You can say it and then I'll just censor it. Because then they can hear me react to it.
It will be nothing but beeps.
I'll put like background noise over it. It'll however long it takes, and then they can hear me react to it.
Oh my god!
Do you want to do
it? Sure.
Okay.
All right. You can't. You honestly. Cannot include what I'm saying in the podcast.
I won't. 100%. I won't. Let me take the time. Okay. All right. An hour and 3 minutes into it. Here we go.
Okay.
Yep.
So, when my first gig at the box.
Yep.
I was 18.
Yep.
And I walk in. I do an audition.
Yeah.
They were like, okay, great. We want to put you in this act where the idea is that I've been detained.
Yep.
By this hot dominatrix cop.
Okay.
Chick.
Yep.
Woman. And I'm tied to a chair, and she comes out on the stage, and she's interrogating me for this series of brutal murders, which they're throwing up these projected images of like dead bodies
very gory
and stuff. Yeah.
Okay.
Very gory dead bodies. And she slaps me around, puts a mousetrap on my tongue.
Wow.
Takes a pair of forceps and shoves them into my head. At which point I get angry. I escape from the ropes.
Wow.
Yeah. So.
Oh God.
Yeah. Now let me.
And that had to sink in on me.
Yeah, it did, didn't it?
Yeah.
Like,
People...
oh, and that's what you did. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
That's what you did. Okay.
For realsies?
Mostly.
Cool.
So here I am. I'm an 18-year-old kid.
Yep.
And there's this really hot, 29-year-old woman, 30-year-old woman, that is at the rehearsal. And she looks at me and she goes, "Oh, honey, I hope you don't mind. We have to use this." She goes, "Because I'm married." And at that point, my world stopped because I was like, "Oh, I'm actually gonna...
This is really gonna happen.
This is really gonna happen. What? Where am I? What did I sign up for?" So...
How many people are in the audience?
300, 400
400 people.
Yeah. All cheering it on the whole
This
time.
is when you lost your virginity?
Oh, I wish. I wish that's how I lost it. But no, so yeah, I would strap it on and do the deed.
Wow.
Yeah. 2 minutes is a very long time.
Yeah.
Very long time.
I can imagine.
Yeah, yeah, so there's an act where the guy would throw out little gold coins or something on the stage.
Yeah.
And pick them up.
Wow.
Like a frog tongue.
Yeah.
So go.
So I didn't know that the Mr. Hands video was filmed at the box.
Yeah. His aim was incredible.
Dynamite.
Yeah.
Oh God.
Now, there was another act there that I performed with, and it was a guy who could come on command.
On command.
On command.
Like
Placid. You snap your fingers.
Ejaculate.
And he ejaculates.
How?
Not a normal amount.
Buckets of...
At least a cup. At least.
How?
Cups.
Where do you learn that? That's who I need to
That
fuck
is
cold
a
call.
medical condition. That is not learned. That is just something that
That's amazing.
well, that's unfortunate that this happens, but okay.
Let me make fun.
Yeah.
It's like when anyone snaps. It's just like...
So, the name of it was Get Out or Get Off was the name of it. So I was in a straitjacket on one side of the stage. He was on the other side of the stage, completely naked except for sneakers, tube socks, and a digital wristwatch. Kind of a dumpy guy, older. And he stands there, looking bored. And I'm on the other side of my straitjacket. And the host comes out in a uniform, in a referee uniform. And they're like, okay, whoever gets out or gets off first wins. This side is for you. This side is for you. Cheer them on, guys. And they start cheering them on, and me on. And I'm freaking out. I'm flipping all over the stage. I'm bashing my elbow into the ground to get my arm over my head.
Yeah.
Trying to get out of the straitjacket and making it look fun. And then the dude is just standing over there, like, tapping his foot, occasionally glancing at his watch. And people are, like, screaming at him to start, like, going at it.
Yeah.
And make it happen.
Yeah.
And as soon as I'm getting out of the straitjacket and slamming it on the ground, that's when he's going. So we would finish at the same time. It was a tie every night.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah. Yeah. There's more, but like
I'm sure this is already the most scandalous thing I've ever heard.
Yeah. Yeah, it's insane. And the stuff that I like me being totally naked and then running into the audience and seeing, man or woman doesn't matter, seeing somebody and just jumping on them and wrestling them to the ground.
You've done things people only dream of.
Yeah. Yeah. I was walking around as a character once, and you can put this one out there.
Okay. I'm just gonna like come in and out of that because I want to hear all the.
Yeah.
I'll use my better judgment, and you can listen to it before it goes out.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, you can come in and out of different things,
yeah.
but most of that needs to be veiled.
Of course.
So I was walking around in this club and playing the mental patient character, and I walked past this VIP table, and it was like this big dude with probably women he had paid to hang out with him.
Mm-hmm.
And one of them laughs at me, and it wasn't like I was doing anything to be laughed about.
You were just in character.
I was just in character, and it was more of a, oh, look at the monkey dance sort of laugh. It was very condescending.
Oh, yeah.
So I turn around, and I lock eyes with her, and I walk forward, and I can tell she's nervous.
Mm-hmm.
And on their table was like, a $10,000 bottle of champagne and like all this stuff. And I put my arm out and I cleared their table. I just swiped everything off onto the floor. And I winked at her. And then I walked away.
Oh my God.
And that moment I was like, this is my last night here. I'm being fired. And the director runs up to me and he goes, dude, that was amazing. Okay, just next time you do that, tell us so that we have somebody to clean it up.
Yeah.
I was like, all right, cool. And the dude that was at the table loved it and ordered another bottle. So I made them a lot of money that night.
So you were the opposite of fired.
I was the exact opposite of fired. Yeah.
Cool.
It was great.
Yeah.
But it's like therapy working there because I can do
Imagine.
anything I want.
There's no rules at a place like that.
No, and like if you want a seat up front, you better have $5,000 in your pocket, because that's what it's going to cost to get up front.
Yeah.
Like it's crazy, but it's cool. It's fun, and it's like real performance art. Like that's where you go to see like a performance artist.
Yeah.
It's very cool.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
What does it take to commit to perform in a place like that? And I don't mean like, who are you rubbing elbows with? I meant like, what do you have to go through in your mind to be like, I'm gonna go out on stage and I'm gonna do, and by most people's standards, unspeakable things.
Yeah, like get naked or whatever.
Just whatever. Yeah.
I mean, mental illness helps.
Yeah.
Like we're all screwed up to a point.
Sure.
The desire to be liked.
Yeah.
It all plays into that. It's like,
Yeah.
I'll do anything for attention. Mm-hmm. Like I have an illness.
Mm-hmm.
I need the attention.
Sure.
I happen to go further than most people to get that.
Mm-hmm.
I just am sure that I'm monetizing it when I do it.
Of course.
Because that way,
yeah,
I can pretend it's not an illness.
Do you ever do comedy clubs? Do you do?
Yeah, occasionally.
Do you do sets?
Uh-huh.
Do you do?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Because you're friends with very funny people.
Yeah. I'm friends with a lot of comedians, and I'm terrified of doing stand-up comedy, straight stand-up comedy.
Yeah.
Absolutely terrified. So many people after seeing my act go, dude, you could not swallow one sword.
Yeah.
And that would have been just as amazing.
Yeah.
You know? And that might be true.
Yeah.
But that's terrifying to me.
Yeah, yeah.
Not having that
the sword is a crutch.
Yeah, it's a crutch.
Yeah, yeah.
And that's all it is in the act. Like, the act is not about the swords, it's about me.
Yeah. And that's clear. And, like, fun.
Yeah.
That's what we want.
Yeah. Yeah, because you see, the first time I do it, you get it.
Yeah.
It's over. Mm-hmm. The jig is up. That's the deal. The sword goes in. The sword comes out.
Yeah.
So I've imposed a challenge on myself of doing that 7 times in 15 minutes.
Yeah.
So. Yeah. But no, to commit to doing something like that, it's wanting to be accepted. It's wanting to have friends. As sad as it sounds, but I mean that's really what it is.
You get very specific attention.
Yeah.
From a lot of people one time, and it's intimate with every single person.
Yeah.
You know,
I don't like performing for small groups.
Yeah.
Because of the pressures and stuff, and because I say things that I don't filter, and I say things that could be very offensive.
And in a small group, you're much more likely to
offend, and then people take the sides of the offended.
Yeah.
In a larger group, I'm gonna win.
Yeah.
You know, I will be successful.
Yeah. Because
people will be on my side.
So let's just use the Peller.
Okay.
For example, how is that as far as group size? Is that
it was fine. It was
as small as you're
that's the
comfortable
smallest as I would ever want to go.
Okay.
I've thought about talking about doing my act in the close-up gallery.
Oh, really?
Because I really like the idea of only 30 people at a time being able to see the sword swallowing and the buzz that would create around the castle. I think that would be really fun.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't precede anybody for the show. It would, you have to wait in line.
Yeah.
That whole thing.
Yeah.
But I would definitely change the way I talk to people in that room. Yeah, it's scary. There were a couple times in the Peller where I felt like I could lose people. And I would then fix it.
Yeah.
But like in the palace at the Magic Castle.
Yeah.
I can say whatever I want.
Of course.
And it's going to be great.
You're also on a raised platform in the palace.
Yeah.
You are literally looking down on the other people.
Yeah.
And so this is something I think is interesting. For several reasons. 1, Forest Nymph. 2, Killer Smile. 3,
yeah.
You're giving your helper, your participant, the power to end you.
Yes. Yeah.
You get to say whatever you want.
That's the very first thing I do. Yeah.
That's the difference between you being an asshole to somebody and then allowing them to pull a sword out of your throat and a magician in the close-up gallery being an asshole to someone and then doing a card trick.
Yes.
They don't get to do that.
They're not allowed.
You're
not allowed.
Are giving yourself and anyone else permission as long as the person is allowed to retaliate.
Yeah.
And the people in the audience see you do that and go, we get to be on his side because this is all in good fun.
Yeah.
And if it wasn't, he would die. Period.
Yeah.
There's no
if he
conversation
really meant what
there.
he was saying.
Everyone accepts it immediately.
Yeah.
That's great. And that's
whether
why
they realize it or not, whether it's intellectualized or not, you get that.
And I think it's interesting because a lot of maybe magicians that didn't think as deeply about it would be like, no, that should be the last thing you do because, it escalates. You're doing all the sword swallowing and then someone pulls it out of you and you go, no.
Yeah.
It should be the opposite.
Yeah. So that's every other sword swallowing act I've ever seen that employs somebody pulling the sword out of them. Mm-hmm. They do it last. Because it's the danger.
Of course.
Crazy.
Yeah. It's the ultimate.
Yeah, you're building.
Yeah.
And I looked at that and I go, I'm going to do it first.
Yeah.
Because I want to establish all of that at the top. Mm-hmm. So then I can do whatever I want later.
Is this something that evolved? What I mean by this is, did you see that and go, well, no, if I do it first, then this is what happens with the audience?
I immediately started doing it first.
You immediately started doing it first. So you knew at the very beginning,
Yeah.
this is going to set up everything else, and this is going to be stronger.
Yeah.
Because the audience will be on my side.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. I was going to ask, or is that something that,
Happened
took you a
later.
long time to figure out?
Yeah. No, that was the biggest immediate thing.
Okay.
And everything else has taken years.
Okay.
Yeah.
So did you...
I got lucky once.
Did you decide to do that because you thought it would be better for the show, or because it's not what everyone else was doing?
Initially, it was because it was what everybody else wasn't doing.
Yeah.
And very quickly, I realized
How great
energetically this is better for everything.
Yes.
Yeah.
Great.
And no one has ripped that off, actually. No other sword swallowing act that I've seen has picked that up about how I
Has
do
realized why it works the way
Yeah.
it does.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. So I'm happy about that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
But maybe if some sword swallowers listen to this.
If you're interested in sword swallowing, do Brett's act, and then...
I'll say horrible things about you on Facebook.
And everyone listens, because just look at him.
Yeah. People listen to me, and you will not be liked.
Universally. It would be the worst thing you could do for your career. That could be said of anybody.
Yeah, yeah.
Maybe not the worst.
Not the worst. Definitely not the worst.
If you dress like Brett, that's pretty good. You should do that.
Yeah. Just don't shop at the same stores.
I think we should tell them what store to go to.
No.
Why?
Because
It's so good, though.
I don't want magicians to know.
Why?
Let them find it.
Well, okay.
Listen.
Can we tell them who you learned about it from? Just to give them a little hint. We don't have to. It doesn't matter. I don't care.
Sure.
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay. Dan White, hella good looking, wears a lot of stuff from this place.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, Hilton.
Yes. He agrees.
Hilton agrees. Hilton's wearing some stuff from this place right now.
Yes.
And his bow tie is fantastic.
Fantastic.
Tied it himself.
He pulls it off really well.
He does. If you're so inclined, find it yourself, because it's too good of a secret.
It is. Yeah.
It's a good secret.
It's a good secret.
Yeah.
And it's one of those. It's one of those places.
We've built it up so much. Everybody's gonna find out now.
Good.
Yeah.
That's what we want. It's one of those places that
I don't want that.
Well, that's what I do.
I went to the store the other day.
Yeah.
And the guy was wearing a suit that I have.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh.
Nobody has that coat that you have, though.
No.
That is a
Yeah.
signature Brett Loudermilk piece.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that stuff is like immediately recognizable because of the quality and because of the fit.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can tell pretty much immediately.
Yeah.
So those are enough good hints.
Yeah, there you go. Find it.
Yeah. I feel good. Is there
Yeah.
anything else? Can I look at my notes?
Yeah,
Let's
look
do
at
a
your
speed
notes.
round. Okay, let's see. Have you ever taught people to swallow swords?
I have.
You have.
I have.
You have students, pupils.
Yes, I've taught a few people, some regrettably, some not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. What do people say when you tell them what you do on a first date?
I try to avoid it.
Okay.
But most
just like
people-
magicians.
Yeah. I think, most magicians are, I think, too eager to tell people that they're magicians. But, no, I mean, people know, typically, what I do, because I don't meet a lot of people outside of friend circles.
Okay.
So, like, I don't drink, so I don't go out to bars.
Sure.
And I don't socialize that way. So I socialize through. There's always like 6 degrees of separation between everybody I know.
Yeah.
So even the idea of a first date is an interesting idea because I'll usually have known the person for a while before that happens.
Sure.
With me, not always the case, but a lot of the time. And by that point, they will have already known quite a bit about me. But when people ask me what I do, I say I'm a comedian.
I think that's a good answer.
Or a theatrical consultant. Those are my two go-to answers. And they go, oh. And that's it.
Those are good answers.
Yeah.
I wrote that down because there's Frank Sinatra was on The Tonight Show with Carson, and a ton. And in one of the episodes, Johnny says to Frank, he's like, I was thinking about this earlier today. When you're when you're in the mood and you're making out with a lady, whose records do you put on?
Yeah.
And so I just wondered, if you're with a lady.
Yeah. Whose records do I put on?
Whose records do you put on? No, I was going in a different direction with that, but it's fine. That was the first date question. That's why I asked that.
Yeah.
Just interested in. Anyway.
Yeah. Next,
I think that's it. There's a couple of questions I like to ask. Who's your favorite magician?
Oh, that's a really hard question.
It is a very hard question.
It's really hard, and I really don't think I can say one person.
Top 5 for different reasons, or whatever you want.
Well, I'll go ahead and say I think Tom Mollica's on the top of the list.
Oh, that's a great answer.
Yeah.
Okay, sure.
He's one of the most legendary living variety acts of all time.
Yep.
I think his contributions to the magic world are very, very important. And he's a really wonderful human being to top it all off. He's a great guy.
He's super nice.
And I value deeply any amount of time I spend with him. Who else? Derek Delgadio is unbelievably brilliant. What he Nothing to Hide and the new thing that he's working on.
Is it still Untitled?
Yeah, probably.
I think the name is Untitled.
Oh, is it? Okay.
So far.
Yeah.
I was trying to make a stupid joke.
Yeah, no, I understand. It's funny. He was asked recently, what have you got so far? And he goes, nothing. And the show opens very soon. But no, I think he's fantastic, and the way he approaches everything that he does is so thoughtful and so good. He's a important guy to have around. Who else? I don't know. When you think about it, there are a lot of really great magicians.
Yeah.
They just tend to get overshadowed.
Sure.
By some not so great stuff. This was something that I wanted to say earlier. Lay people's perception of magic, something I've always noticed is if you fool the person, if you're fooled by a magic trick, then it's good. And that's not true.
No. But
that's good enough for most people. I took a girl in New York City to a...
okay. You went and saw a show in
I went and saw a very large magic show in New York City with a girl.
Okay.
And myself and a large portion of the audience did not like the show. It actually received terrible reviews. However, the show was very, very, very successful. I asked the girl that I took if she enjoyed the show, and she said yes. And I immediately go, why?
Yep.
And her response was, I didn't know how the tricks were done. They fooled her.
Yeah.
So it was a good show. And I decided, because I wanted more from the evening, not to go on a whole rant about how she's wrong. But yeah. So that's a point that I wanted to make earlier.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
That spectators do or don't.
They don't know.
feel.
They don't.
Yes, I agree. They don't know what good is, so you have to teach them.
Yeah, you have to teach them.
Just like you have to give them permission
Yeah.
at certain points in the show. You have to teach them what's good and what's appropriate because they don't know. Which is why a lot of people have problems with the Magic Castle.
Yeah.
Is because this is the mecca of magic.
Yeah.
And people want to
you
go
can
and
see
see
a lot of
something
things
amazing.
there that aren't great.
And sometimes they see someone that does a disservice to the art.
Yeah. Which is, I mean, the thing is, with the rigors of the castle schedule,
Of course, there's no way that
there's
it won't
no way
happen.
to get great people every night.
Yes, of course.
It's impossible.
Mm-hmm. And I think that just, speaks to how do we instill an appreciation for the artfulness of magic at a younger, maybe not younger age like kid, but just when you're starting out, how do you kind of,
Yeah.
appreciate that and care about it?
Exactly. I also don't, I haven't spent a lot of time with, the junior program or anything at the Magic Castle, but from what I see on the outside,
Yeah.
there need to be younger people, younger older people
Yeah.
involved
Sure.
with the junior program.
Yeah.
Because from what I know, there really aren't.
Mm-hmm.
And these kids need to have, coaches or what have you.
Sure.
That are thoughtful and are good and are modern.
Modern.
Contemporary and have sensibilities of 2016.
Yeah.
Not sensibilities of 1978.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
And that's another thought that I could talk about for a long time. But
Well, and it's just on how, magic is defined.
yeah.
What is it?
Yeah.
And that's a conversation that I have with people all the time is,
Well, nobody knows what magic is.
Yeah, and you can't define it. It's,
Yeah.
how you choose to interpret it.
I was talking to the producer of Penn and Teller's Fool Us.
Mm-hmm.
And we had a very long conversation about how difficult it is for them sometimes going, well, that's not really magic. Well, wait, what is magic? We don't know what magic is.
Mm-hmm.
We can't figure it out because nobody can. Because, you know what? As much as you want to say sword swallowing isn't magic, it's fucking magic.
Yeah.
That's it.
Mm-hmm.
Why is it magic? I don't really know. I can't give you a really solid answer as to why it's magic. But does it do the same things a fucking magic trick does to people? Yes, it does.
Yeah.
And that is the end of our conversation.
Thank you so much for doing it, Brad.
You're very welcome.
I really appreciate this and enjoyed it.
Yeah, good.
Thank
Good.
you.
Now buy me food.
Okay.
All right.
I will make up for what happened.